I'm on the ball today. I even felt exempted from the law today. It's like this revelation dawned on me. It's so amazing, help support the cause. I get everyone involved. I feel like I'm on the ball today. I even felt exempted from the law today. It's like this revelation dawned on me. It's so amazing, help support the.
Good morning. Welcome back to another Nudelberg Daily Huddle. I am Mark Nudelberg, president of On the Ball, and I most certainly feel like I am on the ball today. What a great song.
Do you? Great start. I am Jake Nudelberg, director of success and On the Ball, and down below is Shay Money wearing the Daily Huddle shirt. Well, I haven't worn that shirt in a while, come to think about it. Yeah, you were rocking the Florida State polo yesterday. I know we have a Florida State alumni coming on the show tomorrow as well.
Tomorrow, Huddler in the Hot Seat is going to be a blast. Tomorrow, Huddler in the Hot Seat will be Roberto Aguayo, who was a All-American kicker at Florida State, and I had the opportunity to recruit as a freshman, as a high school player, and into his freshman year. And then Roberto went on to kick in the NFL for a few years, and now he is out and doing his own thing and making his way through the business world. And it's gonna be a great conversation.
And what a wild full circle moment, because I remember being a true kid. True kid. So if that, you would have been what, 24 at the time?
I was 20, maybe not even like 23.
Not even 23, maybe you might have just graduated. I remember being 11 or 12, coming to visit you, and I remember this big time kickers coming on campus, and whether it was legal or not at the time, we won't talk about, but there was a workout that was held, or one of them, and he ended up ripping his shoe. I remember this, ripping his shoe or something, and they taped it up. Literally, if anybody's ever kicked a football or kicked anything, literally duct tape. They took not even athletic tape, straight up duct taped it together, and this guy is freaking smashing field goals through. That's so what a full circle moment. Amazing memories, obviously. So super excited about that tomorrow. But it does feel like an original Thursday for us. You and me hosting, the Huddle on Thursday.
Back to the boys on the Thursday. We got some sports to talk about because the Open is open and stuff like that's going on. But how you like that? The double open? The Open is open?
I will say I'm not a baseball guy, but Shay, can you give us anything about, for me personally, I think it is wild that the All-Star game was on a Monday and Tuesday. Do they always do that? I think we talked about that. But
they switched it up a little bit this year. Yes, it's a little bit later than usual. Usually it's earlier in July-ish, but basically the midway point of the season. And then one thing they did differently. Usually the amateur draft, the MLB draft, is held in June. Right after, usually sometimes it's during the College World Series. So guys are playing, they're going first round picks and things like that. This year they did it all in All-Star weekend, so to speak. So they started the draft I think Saturday night or Sunday night to keep everything in line with everything.
I got to tell you, from a marketing standpoint,
they're the worst in all sports.
I got to tell you, from a marketing standpoint, we run marketing accounts. Almost everybody who has a business runs a marketing account. If you have a personal marketing page or a personal social media page and you're in business, normally it's not fully protected. Well, I went to go get information on the MLB All-Star game on Twitter, my number one place for getting information, and their tweets were protected. I could not read the tweets unless they approved me following. I don't know who's running the show over there, no pun intended, but please, for the love of God,
stop gating the content.
Stop gating the content when I try to look up something about your sport.
It's funny, and I will tell you. So I hadn't bought a baseball ticket in maybe ever, and then I bought a ticket to go to the game prior to the July 4th, or right after July 4th. And I will tell you that when you go to buy a baseball ticket, MLB does everything possible to get every piece of information on you. And then as soon as you give them your information, they send you 3,000 emails. I got emails about gear. I got emails about upcoming games. I got emails about experiences with MLB. I was like, oh my God, this is way too much information. I immediately unsubscribed and was like, thank you, baseball. I got all I needed from you.
Yeah, just an absolute wild thing. I think like the NFL is in our face. Maybe we like it better. I don't know, but we are close. We are close to football being back, which for you and me will make, or you and I make us way more excited and probably have a little bit more talking points about sports. But we were together 2 days ago.
Yeah, we got to be with First Point Advisors, which was a blast. Shout out to Nick Mao and Brian DePotter. If you don't know them and you want to get to know them, Eat, Drink, Think will be a great place to do that. But this was our 3rd year running with their summer training. They do an unbelievable job cultivating their culture at their organization. They do this for both their interns and their full-time employees. They are Florida State grads and big-time Noles. And this year's training was focused on high performance. And we broke that down into a couple of categories for people in terms of how to manage your time, in terms of how to manage your communication, defining what real business performance looked like. And really, I gave it to them in 4 simple categories. It was attention to detail. It was sense of urgency. It was communication and follow-up, essentially. And it was the ability to take ownership for their responsibility in the business being successful. And so we kind of talked about all the different ways that those just 4 behaviors can show up in your day-to-day, and the way that it can accelerate you in terms of the way people view you and the way you perform and what happens in your career. And it was a great time.
Yeah, and it's cool. And you do a great job of making sure everybody, pays attention, has, actionable takeaways. You come from, especially they are a younger group, so how it is to deal with that kind of age group and stuff like that. But it's super cool to see them grow. You've been doing it for the last 3 years with them now, and they kind of consistently are growing. The office is changing. The amount of workers they have is changing. So it is cool to kind of grow with them and see the evolution. So but as we do, cool. As we do on the show, we start with wake up music. So Shay, can you wake us up?
Wake up, everybody. Get up, get up, get up, get up. Wake up. Come on, come on. Wake up, everybody. Teach a new way. Maybe then now listen what you have to say. Wake up, everybody. No more sleeping in bed. No more about to thinking. Time for thinking ahead. Come on.
Let's go. So one quick thing that I want to shout out. We talked about it real quickly. Eat, Drink, Think. The response to us letting people know that the next one is happening in September has been unbelievable. We're already almost at capacity on the wait list. So if you are interested in being a part of this event in September, do not wait another day or another week, because you will find yourself further down the list on the waiting list. And as we move through, we're going to try, ensure that obviously everybody from our community, from the GOTB community, will be there. All of our clients will be there. So the spots are going to get full. So if you are interested in being on it, do not wait to get on that list, because it is likely that you will miss the opportunity again, and we will not have another one until the start of the next year.
The start of the next year. It's always great to see people have interest, in getting into our community. Obviously, we try to do networking at a real relationship, focus, not just handing out business cards. So it's cool to see that. Let's start with the daily thought or affirmation for today. Mark, you want to do the honors?
Let's go. Give it to me. Shay Money. Affirmation. Success doesn't come from what you do occasionally, but from what you do consistently. Embrace the power of small, intentional actions every day and watch how they compound into extraordinary results. I'm not sure that there is a better definition of the 1% better mindset. I'm not sure that there's a better illustration of what it really takes to be successful, and what happens after 2 weeks, a month, a quarter, 6 months, a year of disciplining yourself to those behaviors, and what happens and what it feels like.
Well, I think it was cool. You threw a lot at the first point group, and we always throw a lot at the people that we have our talks to or our trainings, and it's kind of like breathing down a fire hose. But always, I think the first question is like, where do I start? Because I'm overwhelmed. I don't want to do everything. And if you do everything, there's no way you're going to sustain it, right? That goes for fitness, that goes for sales process, anything you're trying to get better at. If you try to change your entire process, the odds of you succeeding are very slim. It starts with baby.
Keep it simple,
right?
How many times did I yell, keep it simple at them?
It's like, where are you going to start? Well, I want to do this, and I'm going to write everything right. Like the first thing you do is just write down what you do every day. Yeah. First, evaluate what you're doing, right? And remove the things that aren't beneficial, right? And I think this headline that we're about to go into kind of speaks to about that, right? It was this crazy headline I saw. Obviously, you and I are big into fitness. 4 in 10 cancer cases, nearly half of cancer deaths linked to lifestyle, right?
Which is mind-blowing. And so for me, cancer is genetic on my mom's side of the family, right? Like there's been a ton of melanomas on that side of the family, lots of skin cancer. And so I've been hyper aware of the decisions I have to make to try to mitigate that risk. But then I don't think it was really until like 2009 that the conversation about food and its involvement in cancer really started to come into the mainstream, and everybody started talking about it. And that's when I became aware of like, oh, wow, animal proteins, dairy, there were other things besides cigarettes that were things that you could consume that would really enhance your chances of getting cancer, which these stats prove that, yes, cancer is terrible and we do lots of things to try to kick its ass. But the number one thing you can do to affect your ability to fight cancer is make better lifestyle choices.
Right. Look, we live in an interesting world where you don't want to offend anybody, right? And their lifestyle choices and how they live, and you're entitled to live whatever life you want. But I think fat shaming is a very, very popular term in today's world. About you can't fat shame me. I'm allowed to 1000%. But at the same part, you can't say that you're living a healthy lifestyle, or I'm supposed to say that that's going to be good for you, right? And it starts with the small changes, right? Like they said, I was reading another article that the people who, and this obviously isn't practical, but the ones that can walk around their office more, that are the ones that don't sit and they walk all day, or they stand all day, or the ones that ride their bikes to work will live exponentially longer than the ones that drive and sit all. Like they are the small changes that, like, we are animals, right? Like our bodies are animals, and the way you train it and you keep it healthy, I think the goal for all of us is to live longer. I don't know that everybody feels that way, but for me at least.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's to die on my in quotes, my own terms, right? And not get taken out by a disease or something that is within my control, right? I don't want to do more to harm myself than what life is going to do naturally for me. But like, part of the conversation with First Point was talking about morning routine, right? And like, I think people go, oh, well, that's not for me because I'm not a morning person, or, well, I don't want to wake up at 4:30 because that's not the way my sleep cycle works. That's great. That doesn't mean you shouldn't have a morning routine. I don't care what time you get up. The morning routine is not recommended. It's a factual, it's a factual process that delivers results. And so what I did for them is that I went and I pulled eight facts from respected publications and universities and research institutes that supported why you should have a morning routine and what a morning routine does for you. But at the same time, I think people, again, make it too complicated. So the things I gave them were some simple steps on how to develop a morning routine. Wake up earlier. I don't care what early means to you. Just wake up earlier to give yourself the time to do the things of drinking a glass of water, because hydration is so important to our nutrition and the function of our body. Read and write, because it's unbelievably impactful on our brains. And then move for 20 minutes. I don't care what your movement is. just move for 20 minutes and get outside and get some sunlight during that time, because all of those things are natural and are behaviors that will increase the likelihood of you being healthier, you thinking better, which then in turns affects your behavior and what you do. So keep it simple.
And it's funny because when you talk to people who at least tried it and they're like, it's not for me, and you're like, what'd you do? They're like, I woke up at 4 and I went to the gym and I worked out for an hour and a half and then I was tired. You're like, well, why would you have done that? And what time did you go to bed? Midnight? Yeah,
right.
Go figure, you know? Right. And so it's the simple changes that lead you to great results. And so I think that affirmation obviously really led into our headline. Let's get to motivational music. And then we got 20 sentences that will maximize your social intelligence.
When I hear you breathe, I get wings to fly. I feel that I'm alive. When you bless the day, I just drift away. All my worries that I'm glad that I'm alive. You set my heart on fire, fill me with love, made me warmer, comfortable, get much higher. My spirit takes flight. 'Cause I'm alive. When you call on me, when I hear you breathe, I get wings to fly. I feel that I'm alive.
So I don't know because it's not in the show notes. But I feel like that voice is just unmistakable. That's got to be Celine Dion, right?
Yeah, it's a remix, right?
All right. Yeah. I heard the voice now. It's like, certainly Celine, right? It's only one of those.
Listen, come on now. You can't mistake that, which shout out to her and what she's going through, obviously, which is terrible if anybody has seen that. But all right, let's jump into this. Mark, do you have the list? Do you not have the list?
A couple shouts out real quick to the audience, because I saw Jonathan Aaron's comment that says, Joy Linsky, if they select me, I will be there. Jonathan, you're a part of the GOTV community, which means you get automatically admitted into the event. So you will be there, sir. We will see you at the end of September. And then also his comment, I feel like one of these days you guys are going to Rickroll us. Yeah, it's coming. It's coming. It's got to happen.
Don't tempt me, Jonathan.
Right. It's definitely happening. And shout out to Rich Pusateri, who says, do the small things every day. Amen to that one. That is the exact comment, or that is the exact philosophy we're talking about. So this is a great list. 20 sentences that will maximize your social intelligence. There's some really good ones on here. And as always, if you guys are interested in getting the full list, we will send it to you. All you have to do is reach out to us. But I loved number 4 because for me, I think my philosophy always revolves around how do I make other people feel? And number 4 was make people feel important with the SHR method: seen, heard, remembered. Make other people feel seen, heard, and remembered. And I usually, when I do my trainings around leadership or communication, that usually leads to the active listening conversation. Because I think if you truly know how to actively listen, that's the thing that sets you apart from everybody else and allows you to build unbelievable relationships.
And you're fantastic with that. Obviously, number 7 was my favorite, or one of my favorites. To give feedback, first make the other person feel you care about them, which is that's a skill, you know. And when we talk to leaders, it's tough, you know, because a lot of times coming up, we didn't have leaders that were like that or coaches that ever did that, you know.
Right. It was like it was soft. It was soft if you did.
Oh,
that.
I have to baby you first, you know,
right.
so that I could do that, you know. And so it's almost, you have like scars. And so you do it back to the people and then you go, did you like that?
Right.
No, I hated it. Then why are you doing it to your people that way?
Right.
And it just takes a second to pause and remove, you know, emotion from it a little bit.
You have to remind yourself. Like, I just started working with a new leader at Sistel, and him and I had a great conversation yesterday, and he's unbelievably well trained and developed. He was a part of the Six Sigma training. He's been a part of a lot of different organizations that have invested in training and personal development for him for a long time. But he, as a true 1%er, believes that he can constantly get better at everything. And when we got into the conversation about talking about how to deal with some of the people on his team, we got into that conversation of like, well, how well are you actually, you need to ask this question, but how well have you actually asked it?
Yeah.
And, in review of himself, he's like, I'm not asking it. I need to ask it, and I'm like, exactly like this, what you need to do, but somehow there's a block for you. And a lot of times getting to the root cause of that block is really asking, well, what is the block?
Right.
What is it? Look inside of, I can't tell you what it is because I'm not you. And having those conversations are far more beneficial than me telling you that you're not doing the thing that you need to be doing. That doesn't help anybody. You know that. I know that. That gets us nowhere.
Yeah, right. That's why we're sitting here, right? That's how we got here, right?
Number 11, I thought was super simple, but a great reminder. Practice going first. The example is, hi, I'm Ben, right? And being willing to be the person. So going first as a philosophy is unbelievable. Great book, The Tipping Point. Malcolm Gladwell points you to that. But the other side of that is the simple behavior of introducing yourself in the conversation, breaking the ice and asking the first question and being the person to go first is a great way to cultivate that behavior.
I think this is an interesting one, and especially the environment that we live in. Avoid complaining or gossiping. Nobody likes it.
Yep.
And I think that's an easy thing to fall back into, is to gossip or to complain, because it makes you almost like, oh, let me let you in on a secret, to try to like make that bond.
Yeah.
Instead, but when also could have the inverse of the other person can look at you and go, I'm not going to trust you with anything.
Right. If you're talking that way about somebody to me, then you're definitely going to do that to me with somebody
Why are
else.
you telling me that? Why do you feel like this is a safe space to do that?
And the other thing that makes it really hard is that it's everywhere. Like if you watch the news or you listen to podcasts, a lot of the content revolves around complaining about or bringing the problems without bringing solutions to all the stuff that's out there. So it's hard. It's easy to fall into that behavior. I'm going to go with one more before we end the show. And I'm going to go with number 2. Pretend everyone was sent to teach you something. If you have a problem with patience, or you have a problem with reacting instead of responding, this is a great sentence to remind yourself and a great way to build perspective into the way that you view everything. You'll just start looking for the lesson in everything instead of feeling offended or frustrated or all of the other emotions that come along that lead to those poor responses. So I love that one.
Yeah, kudos. The list is great. Obviously, what Mark said, if you want it, it's great. Ben Meir was a guy I found it on Twitter who's always posting great stuff. And
Ben's a great account.
I will shout out Twitter for just being an absolute great place for information if you search it out and you cultivate the right feed. As always, Mark, great show. Can't wait to see the Huddle in the hot seat tomorrow.
Roberto will be here with us tomorrow to be a great conversation about how sports translates to business. And in my opinion, one of the hardest positions in a team sport being a kicker and the lessons he learned from doing that.
Amen. Can't wait. Everybody have a great Thursday. We will see you guys tomorrow. And as always, let's get down to business.
Let's go.
Please don't worry about me. I'm about to let my heart speak. My friends keep telling me to leave this. So let's get down to business.